Brighter Side of the News is brought to you by Fiesta Kia. Discover the all-new Fiesta Kia located in the I-10 Auto Mall.
Thanks to the coverage of the storm by Tim, Olivia, Tiani, Carmela, Jerry, and news director David Reese, countless lives were saved. To the entire studio, your courage and professionalism prevailed throughout your coverage of the storm. It is my privilege to honor your well-deserved award and the invaluable service you provided to ensure our community was kept informed and safe. Congratulations.
Wow, what an honor there. That was Congressman Dr. Raul Ruiz speaking on the House floor today. He was congratulating the team here at NBC Palm Springs for our recent Emmy win for our coverage of Tropical Storm Hilary. So we were just so amazed to receive those compliments from him in that setting as well. Really, really amazing. And thank you to Congressman Ruiz for those words. You know, it was quite a day when that storm hit. So it's been just amazing to see all of the coverage that's been going on since then.
Really cool to be recognized on the House floor like that. Not a lot
Getting
of
your name on the House floor, that's a big deal.
Get that recognition.
You've arrived.
We're going to have to put that one on the list of really cruel things that have happened in life.
Yeah, and congratulations, Olivia, to you and the team.
And thank you again to Congressman Ruiz.
All right, we're going to send it over to Fred Roggin now with the latest with the Roggin Report. Hey, Fred.
You know, there's that feeling. The hairs stand up on the back of your neck, and even though you think you're alone, you feel someone's watching you. That's creepy enough in your own home. But what do you do if you get that feeling in somebody else? Welcome in on a Thursday. We've got a good one to start with. Now, you've heard the story about the new College of the Desert campus in Palm Springs. Or is it Coachella? Or is it Palm Springs again? This is wild. Back in 2016, a $405 million bond was approved to build the campus in Palm Springs. Then the composition of the Board of Trustees at COD changed. It seems that 3 new trustees had business interests in the city of Coachella. And now that they controlled the COD board, they decided to put the campus issue to a new vote and instead put it in Coachella, which made 0 sense because there's already a COD campus next door in Indio, mind you. Building a COD campus in Palm Springs had been the goal of the college for years. So when word got out about all of this, it didn't sit well. And the new Coachella majority on the COD board lost 1 seat and was replaced by someone else who was previously on the board and instrumental in working on the Palm Springs campus. That person swung the satellite campus back to Palm Springs, where it was supposed to be in the first place. Are you confused? Yeah. So was the city of Palm Springs. They filed a public records information request to try to nail down exactly what happened. It's been years. And so far the city says they've received nothing. But now depositions are being taken in the case. We'll likely not learn anything more until this mess makes its way through the courts, but we will stay on top of it. Now we're talking about $405 million of taxpayer money. That is your money. It's puzzling that when the composition of the board changed and the majority could have benefited financially, things shifted to Coachella where they don't need the college. On top of all of that, the election is coming up. And if the East Valley people win back the majority, they could shift it back where some of their board members, family members, or close friends could directly benefit financially. Could that happen? Our contributors tonight. We'll start with COO of Barton CPA, Chauncey Thompson. When you hear that story, what do you think?
First thing that comes to mind is something is fishy in Denmark. We're playing tug of war with education from the west to the east, back to the west. And from what I've read and understand, it belonged in the west from the get-go. There was feasibility studies that were done for that West Valley campus. There was no feasibility study done for the East Valley campus. And I think myself and half of, or more than half of the Coachella Valley are confused on what's taken place. But from what you've said, Fred, we're starting to understand what's going on.
Okay. So if what I said proves to be true, and I want to point out, we didn't use any names. We know some names, but we didn't use any names. If this is the way things work, Chauncey, shouldn't there be some sort of oversight? We're talking about $400 million of taxpayer money.
Well, The oversight should have been the elected officials that we put in place from all the various districts throughout the Coachella Valley. What it seems like we need to do is create ad hoc committees with city representatives and community representatives to sit and help manage where these funds are going. I think the voters here in the Coachella Valley have lost confidence in our elected officials in this capacity. And so there should be some oversight to help assist, get this project through and and manage the funds. Every day we sit and wait, this project goes from 405 million to 410, 415 because the cost of everything is going up.
All right. Last night we talked about new water restrictions headed your way, and we spoke with Clark Elliott from the Desert Water Agency.
Communities that aren't regularly using their areas for things like recreation or community events should really consider removing those areas and moving to a more desert-friendly landscaping.
James wrote us, maybe we should think about all the desertscape that we're adding to the area. We are adding more dust to this area doing desertscape. Since I moved down here from Minnesota, I've had more issues with my eyes watering or burning or breathing. I also asked about the amount of water used here in the valley, surf parks, golf courses, gated communities. So if we're trying to conserve water, yet these communities use a lot of water, what do they do?
So for something like a golf course where they are using that really large amount of water, really the best option for them is to go on recycled water. And all across the Coachella Valley, there's been a big push for those big water users to be on recycled water, and a lot of them are pushing to connect that aren't already.
Michael Proctor, the former chair of the La Quinta Planning Commission, weighed in, and he had a lot to say about the surf parks and other water-intense construction. In part, he wrote us, I struggle with the notion that we can build 3 surf parks in the valley and currently over 10,000 new home starts, many with pools. But residents can in some cases be fined for watering their lawns more than twice a week or washing their cars. You know, however you handle it and whatever you do, you always try to be a good neighbor. Chris in Rancho Mirage, can anybody suggest a place to have their car windows tinted? Catherine in Palm Desert needs a couple of guys with some dolly skills to move some stuff. Thousand Palms, Judith wants to know why Rivco sheriffs are inside Ivy Ranch. John in La Quinta, wondering what's in the works for the vacant lot north of the 111 west of Best Buy and east of Home Depot. Okay, still to come on the program tonight. Do you want more health care or less? Are cameras watching you? And can you get out of a signed contract?
It may be hot in the desert, but what you think may singe our ears, singe away. Find Fred on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fred Roggin. You can also email thedesertdean@gmail.com.
Look over your shoulder. Someone watching you? All right, welcome back to the program. We had a comment or a question from a viewer named Rudy. Rudy had signed a deal, a car deal to get a car, but the car hasn't been delivered yet, and Rudy wondered, can I get out of that contract? Well, let's find out. Welcome in our legal expert tonight, Walter Clark. Walter, happy Thursday. Thanks for jumping on tonight.
Delighted to do it, Fred, and these are the kind of questions we do get a lot from the public about car purchases. So I'd like to give her good news. I think the answer generally is yes. But note, it's important that she signed a contract, and to give her the absolute correct information, we need to see the contract, because the reason for a contract is to clarify issues just like this. And Warren Buffett said it's impossible to unsign a contract, so it's better to do your thinking and reading before you sign it. But I did call a local car dealer who was a client of mine, and he said if she didn't take delivery, the odds are pretty good that she doesn't have to buy the car. But the question is, on their side, was there a special order that's going to cost them something? Did she leave a deposit, which will be an issue? So these kind of car disputes are very, very common. And that's why the state, and I know you hate the word regulation, but the state has imposed a lot of regulations on these transactions to protect the consumers and to not have battles and disputes because people didn't understand something.
You know, listening to you, I'm wondering, because actually I got taken. I put a deposit down on a car a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden they told me the car's not coming. I'm not even going to name the brand because I actually just despised what they did to me. I lost the deposit. I didn't get the car. And when I read the fine print, you know what it said? Well, basically, sometimes things happen and we're not responsible for it. You know what I mean? But that was in there. And I was like, oh, my God.
I know that's frustrating, but I think the new rules and the regulations prevent that. They dealt with that specifically. People would bring in a trade-in and they'd be given a number for it, and then the trade-in would disappear, and then they say, I'm sorry, no deal, you can't have this car. It's very frustrating for the consumer. That's why the car purchaser's Bill of Rights is on the DMV website, or just go to Google and ask for Car Buyer's Bill of Rights. It specifies this. It specifies exactly what the credit reports can be, the rules, the credit information, the financing information, and all the details regarding the purchase. So there shouldn't be any surprises.
Walter, thanks for coming on. Thanks for the info.
Fred, good to see you. Keep cool. Bye-bye.
Yeah, read the fine print. All right, more record-breaking temperatures in the valley. Here's tonight's super weather forecast.
Today's going to be beautiful. Just kidding, it's hot.
All right, how does that make you feel? Paul, the people's man, weatherman, the plumber, let us know.
It's hotter than a stolen tamale.
If you need a hospital, what happens if there isn't one? All right, here's a developing story for you. As part of your property taxes, so you're paying for this, the Desert Healthcare District receives funds from throughout the district, essentially the entire Coachella Valley. The funds are used primarily to subsidize the construction and operation of Desert Regional Hospital. Currently, Tenet Healthcare is the contracted operator, and they lease the hospital from the district. The district is governed by an elected board of directors from districts across the valley. The district is voting on whether to sell the hospital to Tenet. Now, you can argue it's good for both sides, but there is one interesting clause in the wording of the proposed sales agreement. Basically, what it says, the Desert Healthcare District cannot provide any financial aid to any other healthcare facility, meaning hospital or urgent care, unless it's a free clinic. I take that to mean you can't fund anything that will compete with us, even if it's good for the community. Desert Hot Springs Council member Gary Gardner joins us. As always, Gary, thanks for jumping on tonight.
My pleasure, Fred.
All right, when we looked at the clause in the Tenet deal, it made me scratch my head a little bit thinking, wait a minute, if that clause is in there and this deal goes through, for a city like Desert Hot Springs, you might be in trouble if you need medical care.
Well, exactly. You're exactly right, Fred. And that's what's got us concerned over here and should concern most everybody in the valley. Pardon the pun, but we're in a little bit of a healthcare desert over here in Desert Hot Springs. And it's sometimes difficult to get over to Desert Regional and elsewhere when the roads are closed. If this deal goes through as it is written currently, then Tenet can veto any other funding that may come from the Desert Healthcare District to help open a clinic or urgent care or some other service here in Desert Hot Springs. They can veto that. And our taxpayers, you and I and all of the residents of the valley pay as part of our property tax into the Desert Healthcare District for healthcare. It's right now operating the hospital and other things. And if the hospital is sold to Tenet, then they're still collecting that money in addition to the sales proceeds from the hospital. And they won't be allowed to use that to provide healthcare in any place that competes with Tenet. I think the board, if they let this go through, is abrogating their responsibility to a for-profit company in Texas to decide what healthcare facilities are built with taxpayer dollars in the Coachella Valley.
Gary, appreciate you coming on. Thank you for the information.
Always a pleasure, Fred.
Tara Mullally of CV Strategies joins the show along with Chauncey. So, no compete, even if it would be good for the Valley? Tara, what do you think of that?
Honestly, I think it's up to us to decide what we want. This is a community decision. There's going to be a ballot measure on this. So if we don't want that, we can say no. Tenet is providing all of the seismic retrofitting that is required in order to support the current hospital. So that's a little bit of a sticky situation, since we would be then responsible for those $220 million worth of seismic retrofits on that hospital if we were to say no. So it's a complicated decision, and it's not one that I think anyone should take lightly, but definitely they should remain informed. And actually there's a community meeting tonight.
Right.
And there's also a community meeting next week on the 16th.
Chauncey, what do you think?
So non-competes are almost standard in every contract, such as a contract like this. I know there's been several healthcare districts throughout the state of California where they've signed similar non-compete clauses. I will state, based off of Tenet's history here in the Valley, I don't foresee them doing that. I know they've supported so many nonprofits throughout the community. I just can't foresee that. I will correct Gary Gardner on one piece. The whole Coachella Valley does not pay taxes to the healthcare district. Only the West Valley portion from Cook Street West pays into tax. So everybody Cook Street East, we are currently not on the tax roll to pay into the healthcare district. And if we are stuck with that $220 million bill, you will see taxes increase from Cook Street East. And that is going to be a huge game changer for many communities.
All right. You ever been at an Airbnb? If you're unfamiliar, it's a service that lets people rent out their houses for those looking for a hotel alternative. Hotels may be more expensive, but they don't tend to have hidden cameras. You see, Airbnb has a problem. They just got hit with another lawsuit from a guest who was secretly recorded as she undressed. Her images stored on the computer of an alleged sexual predator accused of spying on unsuspecting renters for years. The company doesn't, as a matter of practice, notify law enforcement, even when children are involved. Hidden cameras are a constant complaint. Airbnb isn't doing anything. Chauncey, what would you do?
I don't stay in Airbnbs for this sole purpose. I have young kids, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, but until they get popped with a lawsuit for child pornography being captured, I don't think Airbnb is going to make any huge strides to fix the situation.
Tara?
I know that I've stayed in a Airbnb before, and Verbo as well. I definitely take responsibility for looking around and making sure that I don't see any cameras, looking at the outlets, doing all of that work. I know that that also happens in hotels. I know it happens in homes. I know it happens kind of everywhere. So I'm not sure that this is a specific, like, pull out Airbnb and do it. You really need to go after the owner who's doing this work. And I know that Airbnb has some responsibility in terms of vetting those owners. And I know that they have a process in which they do that, but I know it's also not perfect, just like any system of that size.
All right. You know how concerned we are with the Coachella Valley Animal Shelter. Whatever you think about how they do their business, they have an urgent problem. The shelter has a serious overcrowding problem and reached out to 24 Pet Connect, a pet chipping service, with a plea. The Coachella Valley Animal Campus will receive more than 25 big dogs saved from a hoarding situation tomorrow. To be honest, right now they have 200 too many dogs in the shelter, and they desperately need to have them adopted or fostered by the weekend, or you know what will happen. The shelter will charge you nothing. It is free if you can come and save them. This is serious. If you have the space or the ability or the love to help, please do. If there's anything you can do, please get to the shelter tomorrow as soon as possible. All right. Now let's find out what's happening this weekend and welcome in Craig Campbell from CoachellaValley.com.
Such a pleasure to be here, Fred. And can you believe it? We're already started with the 4th week of summer. Things go by so quick and so fast, and there's a new venue, new place. It's Fantasy Springs, but it's the Rock Show. And they're starting tonight at 8 o'clock. And, of course, we have Highway 111. Tomorrow, something super. I love it. It's Friday. And I'm going to send you up to Beaumont. It's a fundraiser. It's called Horses and Hatitudes. And what you get an opportunity to do is go enjoy the Four Seasons up there. There's a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club of San Gorgonio. And you are able to have a great time. Of course, you're going to wear your hats. You're going to go in. It's a derby, costume derby event, virtual betting on horses, and a lot of fun for a great, great cause. The world famous Palm Canyon Roadhouse has its 17th anniversary. Can't believe it's been there that long. They have a VIP party starting at 8, public 9 to 2 o'clock. You must get your tickets at Eventbrite, and they have a Led Zeppelin tribute band to celebrate their 17th anniversary. Second Saturdays continue at Downtown Center Stage, Indio, so you can have both. You can either go to Palm Springs or Indio for some fun event on Saturday. 7 to 10 o'clock next Thursday. I never have an opportunity to really share this because the show comes on, and these are happening on Thursday. The first one is the Girlfriend Factor Summer Mixer. This is at Wildest Restaurant in Palm Desert. Very unique restaurant. This is a super, super popular event. No RSV required. And of course, this is their mission is to provide emotional support and educational grants to women. And I have one more very popular event. It's next Thursday as well, 4 o'clock. And this is the Rancho Mirage Kickoff Mixer at the Omni, Rancho Las Palmas. And this is their summer taste of summer Rancho Mirage. Starts at 4 o'clock, goes to 6. That is your week wrap-up.
All right, Craig. Great job as always. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you.
All right, you too. And we're back with something indisputable after this. What do you do when the rhythm just takes your soul? You gotta face it.
Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Ow, 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 show them, girl, yeah, boom, boom.
Hey, did you know people used to say prunes instead of cheese when having their pictures taken in the 1840s? At Big Dare, we say cheesy. Grin was seen as childish, so one London photographer told people to say prunes to keep their mouths taut. Interesting.
Say prunes, smile. Appreciate you watching tonight. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Wheel of Fortune is next.